I'd like to start with just a question today. How's COVID? How are you guys all doing? Is this what you kind of, like as you've been preparing for 19 or 18 years to serve missions, is this what you anticipated?
Absolutely.
What do you want out of a missionary experience? Just raise your hand or shout it out. What did you want? What were you expecting?
To track all day long.
Because tracting, when you tract all day long in the heat and in the rain, you end up with a beautiful wife. And that is like, this is all about eternal families, right? Okay, sorry, no. Okay, you wanted to be out, cross-sliding, contacting people face to face, and now you're kind of stuck in your apartment. Not exactly what you planned or prepared for, right? Or not exactly what you were expecting, okay? What blessings have you seen as a result of COVID? Yes.
Understanding that we control our happiness, we control our joy through Jesus Christ.
I love that. Thank you very much.
It's like a lot of extra time that we had to improve ourselves both spiritually and doctrinally knowledgeable.
Thank you. Yeah, what a blessing that opportunity is.
We have more time to focus on our master teaching skills.
Okay, I love that as well. Sitting with your companion, practicing case studies and scenarios, right? Love that, Sister Liviano.
Just like seeing the benefits of home-centered, church-supported activities and being involved with that work.
Awesome. Maybe being in touch with and or preparing for your future, which includes a lot of family, come follow me, right? So those are some wonderful things. I love to take that which may seem to the world a huge pandemic and a challenge, and to view that through the perspective of God, right? I just want to give you a little bit of a vision this morning, a little bit perhaps of an understanding of why this is happening, why you are here during COVID, and what the Lord expects and anticipates will happen as a result. Is that okay? I'd like to start in this vision just by having you reflect back on some of the earliest prophecies that have been made in Scriptures, okay? Some of the earliest prophecies made in Scriptures were about our day. Specifically, one in the book of Moses, if you'd like to open up in your gospel library to the book of Moses. And reflect back, if you will, just to give you a little bit of context. This revelation was given to Enoch in Moses chapter 7. Enoch is Adam's 7th great-grandson, and Enoch is the grandfather of Noah. Okay, does that give you a little bit of perspective? This is pretty cool here. And Enoch will, 4,000 years before Christ is born, approximately, he will see Jesus Christ, right? If you don't think that the ancient patriarchs knew about Jesus Christ, if we don't believe that every prophet that has ever been upon this earth hasn't known of Jesus Christ, well, let's just look in Moses chapter 7. In Moses chapter 7, sorry, I'm talking ahead of myself. Enoch sees a flood that will take place in 2 generations, right? Isn't this interesting? So here you are, Noah, your grandfather's Enoch, you're righteous, right? You love serving as a missionary. Noah served as a missionary for some 400 years among a people that totally rejected him, right? And by the way, Enoch and all the righteous people were taken up into heaven, while Noah and his family were left behind on the earth. How would that be? You're like, everyone else here is wicked, and I'm going to preach to them for 400 years. Oh, and by the way, my grandfather saw a dream where the earth would be wiped out with this massive flood. So Enoch sees this flood to wipe out the inhabitants of the earth, right? The people that he loves, the people that he labored among, trying to gather them to Zion so they could be saved, and he knows they're going to be wiped out. It crushes Enoch. So Enoch begins to ask the question. In fact, he looks up into heaven and he sees God and he asks God the question. He says, God, how is it thou canst weep? Why are you crying? And God says, thy brothers and sisters, whom I've commanded to love me and to love one another, they hate one another. They despise one another. They want to kill one another. And my plan is not, they're not accepting it. And as Enoch continues in this vision in chapter 7, you just want to look, some pretty remarkable things are seen by Enoch. He sees, verse 47, the coming of the Son of Man, even in the flesh. He sees that the righteous Son of God is lifted up. The Lamb is slain from the foundation of the world, right? So he sees Jesus Christ. Once again, verse 55, he sees Jesus Christ lifted up, crucified. And he asks himself the question, verse 58, Enoch wept and cried, saying, when shall the earth rest? This destruction, this wickedness, this COVID. And the Lord responds in a beautiful way in verse 60. And the Lord said unto Enoch, as I live, even so will I come in the last days. There's the promise of the second coming. In the days of wickedness and vengeance, to fulfill the oath which I have made unto you concerning the children of Noah. And the day shall come that the earth shall rest, but before that day the heavens shall be darkened. There's an apostasy, right? A veil of darkness shall cover the earth. And the heavens shall shake, and also the earth, and great tribulations, COVID, shall be among the children of men. But the promise of the Father and the Son, but my people will I preserve. That's his covenant. He will preserve his people. And then Enoch sees in vision, verse 62, and righteousness will I send down out of heaven, and truth will I send forth out of the earth to bear testimony of mine only begotten, his resurrection from the dead, yea, and also the resurrection of all men, and righteousness and truth will I cause to sweep the earth as with a flood. He's seen a flood that will destroy the inhabitants of the earth, and now he sees a flood prior to the second coming of Jesus Christ that will gather in scattered Israel. Does that sound familiar to you guys? A flood that will gather scattered Israel? What is our prophet asking all of us as members of the church to do? Gather scattered Israel on both sides of the veil. So, what is this flood? There's two aspects of the flood. Righteousness, which is revelation, which will come forth from the earth, right? Truth that will come forth out of the earth, right? Which is very clearly what? Oh, isn't that so cool? Like 4,000 years before Christ, the Book of Mormon is testified and seen by Enoch. Righteousness and truth, he says, and he'll cause to sweep the earth as with the flood. Now, what's this flood? This flood of the Book of Mormon, this flood of righteousness, how is that going to take place? Yes. It will come about as a result of COVID. And I'm going to tell you how. You ready? First, just a couple of quotes. I believe in prophets. Prophets speak for and on behalf of God. Joseph Smith said, the standard of truth has been erected. No unhallowed hand can stop the work from progressing. Persecutions may rage. Mobs may combine, armies may assemble, calumny may defame, but the truth of God will go forth boldly, nobly, and independent, till it has penetrated every continent, visited every clime, swept every country, and sounded in every ear, till the purposes of God shall be accomplished, and the great Jehovah shall say, the work is done, right? So that was Joseph Smith in the Wentworth letter. Spencer W. Kimball in 1969 said this. He says, God will bless the work when we do our part. There are political barriers, time and space barriers, language and other barriers which in the past have kept us from reaching the ears of the millions of honest people. And then he made a prophecy which people thought was crazy in 1969 in the middle of the Cold War. But iron curtains will crumble, bamboo curtains will fall, rice paddies will be crossed, mountain peaks will be scaled, and no power, human or otherwise, can hold the work back when we do our part. 1969. No one ever thought the Iron Curtain would fall. No one ever thought that communism would fall. And yet, it did, because a prophet of God saw it. Okay? Now, here's the vision that Enoch saw. And here's the vision. Here's what the Lord has in store for you. And it's going to come to pass using a tool that God has put into your hand. Brigham Young said, no invention that has ever come forth upon the face of the earth has come forth without the Lord's intent. And today we're going to talk about Facebook as one of those inventions. This is the way that every single one of God's children upon the earth will have an opportunity to accept or reject the gospel. I thought that was an impossibility, right? That every single person on earth would have an opportunity to accept the gospel because of China, because of the Middle East, right? Because of some places in the Isles of the Sea. Missionaries don't go to some of these places, so how will these people possibly have an opportunity to accept or reject the gospel of Jesus Christ? Is there any other way? So how many districts do we have here today? 2 districts. And how many stakes are represented in this room today? Eight stakes. All right. 8 stakes of Zion, which is pretty cool. Okay, so each of these, so is there one Facebook page that covers all these 8 stakes? Is that is? So we got one Facebook page that covers 8 stakes. So 8 stakes is approximately 3,000 people per stake. If my math is correct, 8 times 3 is 24,000 people. Is that correct? Is that right, dear? Let me round it down, let me round it down so I don't have to do 4,000 math. Okay, 24,000 people, 24,000 members of the church. Now, we've been told that every member is a missionary. It is your responsibility as servants of the Lord Jesus Christ to teach. What is the members' responsibility? And how are they doing, by the way? We're not disparaging the members in any way. I'm one of them, right? How are the members doing at helping you find? Could be better. Thank you, Sister Luciano, for your honesty. We are going to, in the vision that we're going to kind of present today, we're going to show you how we're going to make it so easy for the members to share the gospel. They're not going to have to invite someone to come to church. They're not going to have to invite someone to hear the missionary discussions. They're not going to have to knock on someone's door and hand them a copy of the Book of Mormon. It's going to be way more natural and way more easy, okay? So, in theory, this is how it's going to work. You each have a proselyting area that consists of about a stake. Is that correct? About 1 stake per companionship, which is so awesome, by the way, right? So, 1 stake per companionship. What you're going to do, the elders Elder Schurtz and Elder White have created a letter, and this letter is going to go to your stake president. Step number 1. You're going to say, President, we are so excited to be serving in your stake. And we feel that the Lord has blessed us with COVID as a means and an opportunity to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ as it has never been spread before. We are going to ask you to pretty please do one thing. And he's going to be like, okay, elders and sisters, whatever you want, whatever you ask me to do, right? Because he's the stake president. He's fired up about missionary work. And yet in the back of his mind, he's like, no, not again. You're going to ask me to set a date, right? And you can say, no, it's not setting a date. We're just asking you to like our Facebook page. And he'll be like, huh? Yeah, just like our Facebook page and follow us because we're going to be providing some really cool content on our Facebook page. He'll be like, that's it? Just follow your Facebook page. And you'll say, yeah, that's it, President. And he'll say, all right, I can do that. And you say, President, by the way, we'll be posting content about 5 times a week on this page, content that will help you in your Come Follow Me. Stuff that will be relevant for your family, make it easier for maybe for you to participate in your Come Follow Me, to make it really nice. And he'll be like, oh, I like that. President, will you follow this? And throughout the week, will you just find one piece of content, one post that we make that you feel is like relevant and share it with someone? Or reply or respond to that? And your stake president will be like, oh yeah, I got that, no problem. So after that first week, you call your stake president back and say, hey, president, did you like us? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. That was some good stuff that you were sending my way. He's like, yeah, I used it Tuesday night for Come Follow Me. After a long, busy day's work, I didn't have an opportunity to do Come Follow Me. So I looked at your post and there it was. Boom, that's what we used. It was awesome. My kids loved it. We're excited. President, next step that we're going to ask you to do is, will you please send an email to all of your bishops, to all your elders quorum presidents, and to all of your Relief Society presidents, and ask them to follow our page. Is that okay? He'd be like, oh yeah, it's a piece of cake. And you're like, oh, President, if you'd like to, here's a little bit of a form letter that we're going to use that'll tell people how to find our page. If you'd like to just include your if you'd like to just include your testimony at the end of this, when you forward this on, it'll make it easier. Then he doesn't have to create a letter, right? Make it a little bit easier for him, make it happen a little bit faster for him. Now you've got stake presidents, bishops, elders quorum presidents, and Relief Society presidents that are all following your page, which is awesome, and you're sending them content that is relevant. You're talking about Jesus Christ, you're talking about families in this content, it's fantastic. And then you say, President, is it all right if I call the leadership of your stake and just follow up on them following our Facebook page and following the content? And President, of course, would be like, absolutely. So now you've got some things to do. You're sitting in home at COVID, but you've got some actionable items, some things, right? You're calling your bishops and your elders quorum presidents and your Relief Society presidents. They're following you. You're sending some content out. And now you're going to ask them to invite all their quorum and Relief Society members and bishops to send an email to the ward saying, will you please follow the elders or sisters Facebook page? Now, if we do that within just your stake that you're serving in, all of a sudden you're going to have, a stake. We decided simplified was 3,000. You'll have 3,000 people following you. Now, stake president, this is the elders or sisters again. Can we get a ward list, or you call the stake clerk, a stake list? Now you've got a list of everyone in the stake, and you've got a list from Facebook of everyone who's following your page. If there's someone that's not following your page, you're going to call them and say, hey, it's the elders or sisters. Can we minister to all? Is that what they call it? Can we have a ministering to all appointment with you? We're going to do that by our Facebook, but we need you to like us first. So can you do that tonight, 7 o'clock? In fact, we'll teach your Come Follow Me lesson. They'll be like, oh yeah, that'd be so awesome. You could teach our Come Follow Me lesson, right? So you teach them. Now you're doing your minister to all. You're adding people to your Facebook page, right? Now you've got 3,000 people who are following. Your second invitation is going to be now to the members, not just to like the page, but your invitation to the members is, will you find one post that we make per week, and would you share that with one of your friends? You guys know how to share on Facebook. Oh, that's a little bit, you guys aren't Facebook savvy, right? It's all Instagram, Snapchat, you got that? Maybe a little bit of Twitter. Okay, you're gonna ask them to share that post with their friends. Now, most members of the church, would you say they have about 10 friends? Are we lowballing it? Lowballing it? Some of them, maybe a few more. So can we just make it really simple and say 10, because 10's easy to multiply by? So if every member of the church is now seeing your content, guess what that shows? That shows up on their story. And if they've got 10 friends that follow them on Facebook, because that's what we do in COVID, because we got nothing else to do, right? Because we're all stuck in our houses, right? All of a sudden now, just in your stake, how many people are potentially receiving your content? Whoa. Could you ever, in 2 years of your mission experience, contact 30,000 people? That's a lot, Elder, that's a lot of tracting. Yeah, that's a lot of tracting, right? And this is within potentially 2 or 3 weeks. Now guess what happens? Next level is, members, you've now shared that with your friend. It's posted on your page. We're going to ask you to not just post it on your page, but we're going to ask you specifically to share it with one of your friends. Now you've got one of their 10 friends, right, that is specifically receiving some of your content. And the members, it's so easy to share in social media. And we do it all the time. You eat a good hamburger and you take a picture of it and you post it on, that's not offensive to anyone. They're like, oh, don't you dare post a picture of your hamburger on Facebook. There's nothing offensive about that, right? And so we share content in a very natural and easy way. And your member, and it may take a little bit of training, as you call them, in a little come follow me lesson. But you might say to your member, will you share this with someone and share your testimony on the end? As you pray about who needs content this week, who needs this message this week, the members are going to start sharing it, right? Now, these are all members of the church. These are mixed, may or may not be members of the church. But when we go to this next level, when we get into the next level where the members are now sharing content with people who are not members of the church, if you're not a member of the church, the vast majority, even here in Utah, a vast majority of your friends are not going to be members of the church because that's who you associate with. That's just how kind of it works, right? You guys know that. And your content is now being shared with a member's testimony and their friend who's not a member of the church, and they comment on it and reply, because that's what we do in social media, right? We comment and reply. And anytime we comment or reply to truth, we call that testimony. And all of a sudden now you've got non-members who are bearing testimony of your content, and all their friends are seeing it. And I would say that most non-members maybe have, would you say, about 10 friends? That's just 3 levels deep. 3 levels deep. Elder, that's a lot of tracting. You'll be tracked for the rest of your life, right? Do you see the potential with this? And it's in a very natural, easy way to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. Now, some of you may say, I'm not good at creating content. And my response is, that's fine, but you're a missionary. You're good at contacting people. And so if you're like, man, we don't have anything to do today, you're going to bust out that steak list, and you're going to bust out that list of people who are friends on your Facebook page, and you're going to start calling people who aren't following your Facebook page. Elder or sister, brother or sister Brown, this is Elder Young. We're so excited to be in your stake. Would you allow us to share a come follow me message with you and your family tonight? It'll just be 10 minutes. We'll be super well prepared, and we'll make sure that we share testimony. Now, I will tell you, as a parent, I love it when the missionaries call and want to share a message with my children, because my children feel the Spirit when the missionaries teach, because you are called and set apart to preach the gospel. Your authority is above that of the kings of the earth by revelation. You have been selected as a personal representative of the Lord Jesus Christ, who is your master, right? You know that, Elder Bruce Armaconkey, my missionary calling. And I testify that by following this is one stake. This is just one stake. There's 8 stakes in this area. I'm not very good with math. I think that's 2.4 million people. Potentially. Only 3 levels deep in social media. Now, this is just the beginning. We've been authorized, the elders have been authorized to begin posting paid ads. And what the paid ads will do is it will allow you to use Facebook Business and to set a geographic boundary, which would be your stake, right? Whatever your stake looks like, your boundary. The South Ogden stake here, I don't know what that looks like. 40th Street down to you into whatever it is, right? But you'll plot that out on Facebook, right? And then they will create what they call a geofilter. And in that geofilter, they're going to look at certain things. They'll create what is known as a persona, which is who your target audience is. And in that persona, they'll give an age range, and they'll give an income, and they will give a marital status, and they will say an education level. I mean, you can be as detailed as you want. When we begin to market with these paid advertisements, you can look at someone's Google history. Now, if someone has posted on Facebook about being pregnant, or a child being born in their family, or a marriage, or a funeral, those major life events that usually drive people to God and Jesus Christ, do you realize that all of those people, for those major life events, they're going to be plotted with a pin? Seriously. I'm a representative of Jesus Christ. I understand you just had a baby. I've got a message about eternal families. That's a little bit creepy. But do you see the potential? Now you're not. In the old days, we would track statistically 1 in 1,000 doors that we would knock turned into a baptism. Now, guess what? If someone Google searches God or Jesus Christ, that's going to show up on your filter. And your ad is going to show up boop, on their feed. They'll be like, coincidence? I've been praying for this. Right? And now, Doctrine and Covenants, section 29, verse 7. If you guys will turn there, make sure this is marked. If you don't have this marked, make sure you mark this, if you will. I believe, as you guys stood up and shared your purpose as missionaries, right, to help people to come into Christ through faith, repentance, baptism, gift of the Holy Ghost, and all the other ordinances that are necessary for salvation, right? This is your purpose right here. This is where it's spelled out really, really super clearly, I think, in the scriptures. Can I get someone to read that for us? Section 29, verse 7. Pretty please. What's your name? Marolele. Okay.
And you are called to bring to pass the gathering of mine elect. For mine elect hear my voice and harden not their hearts.
Who are you reaching? Who are you trying to seek?
The elect.
Who are the elect?
The people that are ready to hear the gospel.
The people who will hear. They will hear your message on Facebook. And the amazing thing is, you're not going to have to knock on their door and impose upon their personal space. But they're going to receive your message in a very natural way through friends or through Facebook advertising. And they'll be like, this is what I've been praying for. And using technology, we will reach those people. I testify that's true. Does this make sense? Is this something we can do as missionaries? Are any of you intimidated by any of this at all? Is the vision pretty clear? I mean, is it pretty obvious what God has done? By giving us COVID, He's prepared us for the second coming and the gathering of scattered Israel. I testify that this can be the greatest blessing in your life and on your mission if you'll choose to let it be. But you have to do the work. My last thing that I'll say before we turn this over to Q&A is this. President Ezra Taft Benson said this. He said, I've often said that one of the greatest secrets of missionary work is work. If a missionary works, he will get the Spirit. If he gets the Spirit, he will teach by the Spirit. And if he teaches by the Spirit, he will touch the hearts of the people. And there will be no homesickness. There'll be no worrying about families, no worrying about friends. For all time, talents, and energies will be focused on the work of the ministry. Work, work, work. There is no satisfactory substitute, especially in missionary work. When others may be sitting at home bemoaning the fact that I'm not out tracting in the rain and finding a beautiful wife, what is your name? Elder Fernandez is saying, I don't need rain. I got COVID. And he's got 4,000 people to call so that he can start setting up the gathering of the elect. May the Lord bless you in this your effort. And I promise, I testify that he will, in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. So there's the vision. Now let me tell you the results. The Philippines have had flip phones for years, and in December, 2 missions received smartphones. Now, granted, per capita, the Philippines as a nation uses Facebook more than any other nation in the world. They are just like dialed in, right, on Facebook. But in one mission in the Philippines, with 88 missionaries, you remember they evacuated the Philippines, right? Everyone was sent home. So they got 88 missionaries, native Filipinos in this mission, 88. They're what do they call it? Something where they teach, not baptisms, but lessons taught?
Oh, lessons taught.
Members on date or something like that?
Lessons taught with members.
Yeah, 400% increase. And that's over a mission that had 200 plus missionaries. In London, you guys have heard about the woes of Europe and how people are turning away from the church in droves, about how Europe pretty much has just gone the way of atheism or agnosticism, right? Church is down about 10% of what it was 100 years ago. In London, because they've embraced and implemented this digital media proselytizing, their baptisms are up 200% in London. In Washington, D.C., which was one of the first places in the United States to be shut down due to COVID, they're teaching over 200% what they were prior to the shutdown. Now, it takes just a couple of months to get set up, right? But the potential is divine. Okay, now any questions? What questions do you have?
Where should we find content, like ideas to post on the Facebook page?
Awesome. At this point in time, your content is going to come from one source. Do you have the Gospel Media app on your device? If you have the Gospel Media app, for example, so all of your content is going to go back, and I don't mean to overly simplify this and turn this into a business, but in marketing, you specifically identify who your customer is, right? If you're Fortnite, then you're going to target 9 to 24-year-old males, right? And that's your target audience, so you're going to do whatever it takes to reach them, right? And you're going to be looking for them different places than you would for Better Homes and Garden, if you're a Better Homes and Garden, right? Because your audience is totally different. So you're going to be very specific, with who your audience is, and they're the elect. So what do we know about the elect? Okay. They will hear and respond. Wow, hear? Who? Someone's been telling us to hear him. Who is that? They'll hear the voice of the Lord, right? So perhaps the message that we should be sharing is Jesus Christ. And as we share the message of Jesus Christ, we don't have to recreate the wheel, because the church has done some amazing things with videos, with quotes, with pictures about Jesus Christ. What are some other messages that will resonate with the elect, do you think?
Messages about hope.
Yeah, especially right now. People are looking for that, right? In fact, hope. Moroni says, and what is it we shall hope for? Well, we have hope in the resurrection through Jesus Christ. 7:41, I think, right? Okay, what else will resonate with the elect?
Peace.
Peace, it comes through, and only through Jesus Christ, right? Okay, what else? Elder Bednar's training really hammered this. His training to the youth on family history. The elect will hear the message of family. They really will. So now, this is not just for finding, but this will be for teaching as well. There's two sides of the social media aspect or Facebook. It'll be the finding, which we've just talked about, reaching 2 point whatever million people potentially, right, with our feeds. And the other aspect is reaching out to people and teaching them. And as people have questions or concerns, or you want to share a message with them that would work over social media, over digital means, you can be sharing video with them, right? Does the church have a few videos? But you're like, I don't know how to find it. I don't know how to share it, right? Do you remember as we were teaching, how do we find it? The Gospel Media app, right? So if you have the Gospel Media app, it's the red one. Open that up. Oops. Gospel Media app. The beautiful thing about the Gospel Media app is every single piece of media that has been created by the church, whether video, whether audio, whether meme, whether quote, whether picture, it's all available here in the Gospel Media app. And if you're like, what message can I share, or what content can I create about hope in Jesus Christ, you can type the hope in, the word hope. Well, look, there's a and I've got it selected specifically to look at, refined to look at, filtered to look at videos, and there's a cool mountains to climb. Maybe some of you have seen that, because I've been given much within bounds. There's a ton. You can look at pictures, you can look at quotes, you can look at talks. And all of a sudden, you're not having to create a whole lot of content. You're just sharing content that's already created and putting your testimony at the bottom of it. Or you're sharing content and commenting on that content. Does that make sense? Elder Fernandez, was that helpful? I think that there will be some specific content that's created by each zone. That'll be content created about 5 times a week that will be posted. But for the most part, that content, you're just going to feed that content to the elect. So they're going to talk a little bit more about content creation and how that's going to work within the mission. But it's going to be a lot easier than you think. Even on your phones, in this Gospel Media app, you can clip a video out. You can take 30 seconds out of a 5-minute video, cut it out, and post that on social media using the Gospel Media app, which is pretty cool. So, thanks. Any other questions? Sister Libiano.
If I could share my thoughts.
Please.
President Uqdor, Elder Uqdor, actually shared a video this morning about 2 missionaries in the Adriatic mission. And a bishop in your state told me how hard it was to find people to teach. Their actual goal is just to place a Book of Mormon. But since the explosion of technology, 2 elders, they decided to target people from Athens. And they just made this little video of them making a trick shot and then sharing a scripture verse. And that video accumulated 400 shares. And within hours, they had 90 people message them. And 20 of those 90 people, they're teaching consistently, and one is on date to be baptized. And I think from a mission whose goal was just to place a Book of Mormon to having a baptism, I think that's really, really great. And yeah, so this is my thought.
Your content, it's going to be from the church, but some of that content is just going to be real. It's just going to be you, right? And you'll share that. You'll be able to share that easily. Within Facebook, you can post it to the page, or you can just share content with groups of people and share it with them. Post it on their page. You can share content on other people's pages, which is really cool as well. Thank you, Sister. That's exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, exactly. Any other questions? Okay. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to be here with you. I hope you see the vision, the potential. I testify that God will assist you. This is His work, and that you are able to receive His help and His revelation. I testify as well. Doctrine and Covenants section 138, verses 55 and 56 says that you were prepared in the premortal existence. You received lessons in the premortal existence that would prepare you for this time. And that as you are worthy of the Spirit and as you hearken to the promptings of the Spirit, that the Spirit will teach you all things that you should do and will bring all things to your remembrance, or John 14:26, right? You will remember those things that you learned in the premortal existence. You'll remember those things that you're prepared for, and then you'll be able to implement them with a high level of success. And I say that in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
And if you do have questions, feel free to let us know.
Thank you, Brother Godfrey. Thanks so much.
You're the luckiest people in the world to be able to serve as full-time representatives of Jesus Christ at this time. It's pretty awesome. Thank you so much.